Welcome to It Takes Two. I'm Blair.
I'm Chris.
And today we're taking a deeper dive into whether or not we think Huda can redeem herself.
Listen here, I need you to subscribe, like, share, comment, all the above. I think this is the end for Huda, right? I think this is the end for Huda. Last night was the votes, and I can tell, Blair, by your body language and basically by what you've been saying throughout the episodes, that Huda is not one of your favorite Islanders.
I voted Olandria and Nick.
Okay, thank you. And I think a lot of people may not have voted for Huda, but I think a good number may have, right? And here's the thing. Huda has shown her whole behind throughout this whole season so far. And I'm not talking about in a good way in the Meg Thee Stallion episode. I'm talking about she mooned us. She gave us the middle finger. She said she's a girls, but she calling girls the B word and things of that nature. She made it all about herself and actually brought the vibe down of the season, right? What is your thoughts on basically Huda's behavior so far up to this point in your words, Blair?
Yeah, I mean, Huda came in. She latched on to Jeremiah very quickly. Jeremiah and her were open, and every single time someone tried to get to know him or a new person entered, she acted the behind.
Yes.
You know? And so with that, and them finally calling it quits, she's trying to learn how to navigate and how to actually be part of the villa and actually be a Love Islander. And I am she's still not one of my favorites because I feel like she hasn't really taken full accountability of the things that she's done. When people have talked to her about her behavior, she had some responses, well, I was crashing out, or we both did things to, you know, come at each other. And I will say, Jeremiah holds some responsibility in his passivity or people pleasing the way that I see it. But when you're having a conversation with somebody trying to get on good terms, it's not the time to point fingers.
Yeah.
And even in the most recent episode, to where she knows that she didn't handle Hannah with care, and her response to that was, well, I didn't remember that we were going to kiss at the end, or Hannah, I'm new to this, girl, like, you know, I'm just getting back on the prowl, so to speak. It's literally been like a week or two. Relax.
If that.
So that's why that's pretty much how I'm seeing Huda's story.
Yeah.
And I would like to see her put her best foot forward, and I think she's trying, but I just think that she just is not there internally, like, to really have the full redemption arc. I just don't think because without full accountability, you can't fully redeem yourself.
Yeah.
In my eyes.
Well, before we get to the redemption arc,
Yeah.
I also want to talk about how people may look at Huda as if, you know, Love Island is a privilege and not a right. They feel like based off of her actions, she should have been basically asked to leave the island. She should have been basically producer should have got her up out of there because, you know, she was cussing and basically making it an unsafe work environment and things of that nature. And they feel like if she was darker, if she was a black woman, or maybe if she wasn't a woman at all, you get what I'm saying, that they would have asked her to leave. I don't know. I'm not going to say I do not disagree, right? I do think that if she was a dark skin and things of that nature, if she was a black woman, if she was a man, I think it would have been different for sure. While at the same time, I do feel like, and this is a left field theory that I feel like the producers couldn't let Huda leave at the point where she was crashing out. I think they underestimate, when I say they, I mean the Islanders underestimate how popular this show is and how popular they are right now at the moment. And the hate that she was getting at the moment where she was crashing out, I personally think that it would have been unsafe for her to leave the island without giving her a chance to at least bring some of that hate down. People are going to her comments and to her DMs. Her family got to come back out and basically tell everybody to chill out. I think in that moment, it was too hype. Like, basically, the flame was at its peak of basically hate for Huda. Dude, like, am I making sense?
Yeah, you're making sense to me. I just don't see production doing that because it was two opportunities for them to get rid of her. So I felt like if they decided to get rid of her, she would have been gone. So I really don't think anyone is orchestrating her safety in that type of way.
Okay.
I do think that when it comes to the public opinion, I hope that she stops by a therapist before she hops online.
Okay.
Because, or even I know that they have counselors in the villa and things like that. But yeah, I can imagine that it will be a lot to actually see what pretty much your actions have caused for yourself, you know, especially if you're not someone who can really piece together the things you have done have resulted in certain opinions of you. So,
And because of all these actions, I think she is perfectly qualified for a redemption story. I think she is actually the candidate, maybe the only candidate on Love Island right now that can redeem herself, that can have a comeback story. Everybody love a comeback story. I don't think a lot of people want Huda to have a comeback story, but just listen, flow with me for a second, right?
all right.
Blair, I have the definition of redemption arc, right? Can you read the definition of redemption arc for us, please?
Yes. A redemption arc is a narrative structure where a character initially portrayed negatively, like selfish, villainous, undergoes a transformation, ultimately seeking to make amends for past actions and be seen in a more positive light.
So far, guess what? Huda, you qualify. Now, the only part she doesn't qualify for, which Blair, you pointed it out earlier, is that, hey, she needs to seek amends for past actions.
And if I can throw in there, I think that she has tried in her way, but it wasn't quite hitting the mark.
No. It's missing every time.
You know what I'm saying? But she tried to have a calm conversation with Jeremiah. She pulled Hannah to the side. She is in her way making amends, but for people who actually know what accountability is, it's not hitting.
No, it's not hitting at all. Because every time she goes to Jeremiah, she says, "You hurt me, man.
Yeah.
You hurt me, man." So that's why I'm like, okay, you are not really taking accountability. You are basically trying to bait him into basically apologizing to you and trying to bait him into making it right.
Right.
That's why when you went to have that closure conversation and things of that nature and you hugged him, you stepped back and you stared at him. So basically you wanted him to fall into the trap of basically like, I don't want to let this thing go.
Right.
It wasn't really a conversation of closure. It was another last ditch effort of basically trying to fix whatever you and Jeremiah had. That's why I'm like, hey, so far you are definitely portrayed as the villain. You are definitely have a lot of negative things about you and things of that nature. But so far, if you just make amends and actually just say sorry, right? You don't even got to say for what. Just say sorry, right? Yeah. I think you will qualify 100% for redemption arc. Keep reading, Blair.
Redemption arcs are popular because they resonate with the human desire for forgiveness and the possibility of change, even for those who have made significant mistakes. They offer hope that even deeply flawed individuals can overcome their inner demons and strive for a better path.
Oh, yeah, she got inner demons. And my thing is, we love a comeback story.
Absolutely.
Listen, if there's one thing Americans love, is a comeback story. Blair been telling us throughout the reviews that she had no problem with Huda getting a redemption arc. She just don't believe that Huda is capable herself.
I would love to see it.
Oh yeah,
I would love to see it, but I don't know if she got it in her.
Oh, no,
At least not right now. Maybe in 10 years.
Listen, it's not in her. It's on her, right? So I came up with a plan, a devious plan, right? A genius plan even, on how Huda can redeem herself. I don't even know if she could come back to basically be a finalist, but she could definitely be viewed in a better light than what she is in now and things like that. If there's any way you want to take the conversation before I go into my points of how she can redeem herself, Blair.
Yeah, I kind of want to talk about my sign a little bit.
Go ahead.
And kind of the different avenues we could take that conversation.
Okay.
The first one is, are there different rules for Huda?
Yes.
The fact that she can, cuss people out, be aggressive to the new people, create a hostile environment. Is that something that she's allowed to do because of how she looks, because she's a woman? And also when it comes to making somebody feel unsafe, the way that the girls were talking about how she charged at Iris and they weren't really feeling too great about that.
Yeah.
And Jeremiah shutting down, like he normally does, but it seemed like he was very uncomfortable in a lot of situations with her as well. So does Huda get a different set of rules because of who she is or how she looks?
Yes. I could think of two rules off the top of my head, right? Let's start with the rules of woman privilege, right? If she's a woman, even though she has shown herself to be, right? There is something less threatening when it comes to a woman versus a man, right? So she's getting woman privilege. Also, she's getting pretty privilege, right? Huda is very beautiful. I understand on the inside she has shown herself to be other things, but on the outside
We're seeing her demons.
You listen, oh yeah. We are not going to lie and act like we're blind and stuff like that. Blair have said it plenty of times.
Gorgeous girl.
Huda is gorgeous. I say she is beautiful. So there is something to where the line kind of the goalpost can move depending how you look and also what gender you are. And I think that what actually made her last this long, the fact that she's gorgeous and the fact that she's a woman, and also, believe it or not, like even up to episode 16, like Huda is the main character. There is a main character privilege too. This is not a situation of, oh my goodness, somebody literally just said it in our comments a couple episodes ago. Remember the guy that was supposed to vote for Liv last season?
Okay.
And I think his name was Kane or something like that. And like he didn't, and that's when production just basically got him off the island because he wasn't a main character. He wasn't in no couple. So there was no privilege of basically, we have no reason to keep you.
Right.
Huda has been the main attraction of the season all the way up to this point. So there is privilege of being a woman, of being gorgeous, and also being the main character of the show. What is your thoughts?
Yeah, I think that she definitely does have a different set of rules. I think pretty privilege, being a woman, all of that. And then also the fact that even the Islanders, when they had the opportunity to get rid of her, they didn't.
Yeah.
So maybe there is some type of girl friendship, OG loyalty, to where they're trying to overlook some of Huda's actions or trying to give her the space to improve. The other way I wanted to take this, and it might lead into some of your points as well, is the fact that they have saved Huda on 2 occasions. Does she have to operate in the island different than everyone else because of how she ran amok in the palace? Like, and I say that to speak on the situation with Hannah and the fact that it would have been nice for her to give Hannah a heads up.
Yeah.
I think that had she already been getting to know people and vibing and building the friendships as she went along, then it probably wouldn't be looked at as such a betrayal. But because you were crashing out the way that you were, and Hannah was somebody who was really kind of ride or dying for you in your wrongness,
for sure.
that we do expect you to have a little bit more respect for the people that gave you the grace that you needed. We understand that you need to talk to people and all this type of stuff, but you might have to move different because we did you a service.
And when you say move different, what do you mean? Because because I may even take it to the extreme past what you mean, right?
Okay.
I think they saved her, and they basically say, hey, you sit in the corner while we do Love Island, and you make sure that you make sure you don't bring the vibe down.
Right.
I don't even know if they are even open to her even talking to like guys, to be honest. And I'm not even talking about like her. I'm not even talking about guys that are already accounted for, like Pepe and stuff like that. Basically, they're like, listen here. We save you, so because we save you, you owe us a forever debt as long as we are in this island or on this island. So if a new bombshell come in, guess what? We will talk to them first, and if we want them, we will keep them. If we don't, we let you have like basically the crumbs. So I think there is something to, hey, we gave you mercy, and guess what? We ain't gonna save you a third time. So sit in this corner and just be quiet, because the reason why I say that is even after they saved her, you don't really see the connection of really like the girls of everybody basically hanging around. She's still on the outs, even though she's still in the island.
Yeah. I can see that.
Yeah. So, do you have anything else? Because I have some crazy points.
All right, let's hear them.
I have some crazy points. I have some radical points on how she can actually complete her redemption arc. You ready for point number 1, Blair?
I'm ready.
Point number 1, Jeremiah has to endorse it. He has to.
That's a good point.
He has to endorse. That has to be the first thing. And to endorse it doesn't mean that he has to get back with her, right? There has to be a understanding amongst both parties, or especially with the party that you wronged, that they fully forgive you and that y'all are truly friends, and that basically, you know what? I want the best for her. Jeremiah have not endorsed it. So far, he basically said, look, I talked to Huda. She's cooked. You know what I'm saying? He even told her that, hey, as long as we here, when you see me, walk the other way, basically. Right? So Jeremiah has to endorse it. In order for him to fully endorse it, Huda got to do this, which Blair actually alluded to. She has to take full accountability for all wrongdoings, not just her wrongdoings. Now it's not about who's right, who's wrong. Me personally, Jeremiah is not a victim. To me, he's a collaborator of everything that happened, right? But now, if you want a full redemption arc, she has to take accountability for her wrongdoings and potentially his wrongdoings, right? And once he endorses it, then you can never speak again. But we need to actually hear good words come out of Jeremiah about Huda. What is your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I definitely agree. It kind of makes me think about how Nick changed his tune when he was talking to Ace and saying like, hey, she put her best foot forward during the challenge. You know, basically, let's not continue punishing the girl, so to speak.
Yeah.
And I think that if more people turn a leaf, and I think Jeremiah might have to be one of the main ones, but if more people turn their leaf to see that there has been a progression in Huda's attitude, then I think that the tides will turn for her.
Yeah. So that's point number one. Point number two, she has to have a personality. Pick a redeeming quality and build on that. Blair has told us, and I have told you, she do not have a redeeming quality. Me, I said she's not funny. I think that's the most redeeming quality you can have, is that you can do whatever you want to do and you can act out however you want to act. But if you can make me laugh, it's easier for me to forgive you. I went through a list of redeeming qualities and I was like, oh my goodness, Huda is none of these things.
Oh, goodness.
Courageous, compassion, adaptable, dependable, patient, disciplined, humble, talented, confident, creative, ambitious, like funny. Like I
will say she's talented and shaking that booty.
Oh yeah,
that thing was moving.
I ain't gonna hold you, right? but guess what? Shaking that booty is not going to
to redeem her.
It's not going to redeem her. All right.
Maybe in some people's eyes.
Listen, just very simple redeeming qualities: loyal, honest, diplomatic. Like she's none of these things.
Her loyalty is actually scary because it's obsession.
Her loyalty
and she
is
wants
to herself.
And she wants to put you in a basement and lock you there.
Exactly. Exactly.
Her loyalty is scary.
So off of just a little list of redeeming qualities I named, she's none of those things, right? She's loyal to herself, right? And my thing is, hey, pick a redeeming quality and build on that, right? Hey, if she was funny, we would have seen it by now. She's not funny. She's not trying to be. I don't even know what her personality is outside of being male-centered and things like that. So far we got she has to be endorsed by Jeremiah and she has to pick a redeeming quality. You have any thoughts on on that second point?
Yeah, and I think that if she can actually have a redeeming quality to maybe get behind the girls. I know we always say this ain't Friend Island, but I think that if she can really be there for the girls and really be a supporter and a pusher for their love and their happiness, I think that that would be a good opening to kind of seeing how supportive she is, because we've seen her get all the support, all the pouring into and all that type of stuff. So it would be nice to see her return the favor.
Oh, facts.
Yeah, I think that could be a great starting point.
Point number 3. Use that baby. What do you mean by that? All this time she's been telling us she's a mother. Even Nick said, Mamacita?
Yeah.
No. She's a mommy. He said, what, a dog? No, a mommy of a person, of a human. Use that baby. What do you mean use that baby, Chris, right? She has to, her new objective got to be, hey, I done mooned the viewers of Love Island, right? Now, I want to put on a better image for my daughter, right? I am a mommy, so there is an expectation that is, unspoken, that, hey, I need to carry myself in a way that represents that.
And setting a great example for the woman that she wants her daughter to become.
Exactly. Yeah. And you heard her bring up her being a mommy last episode, to where she was like, that wasn't my brightest moment, and I was thinking about my daughter and things like that. So use, actually, besides saving it as a secret and as a guess what, as a Pop Go to Weasel secret and things like that, actually lead with that. Like, I'm a mom and and use your baby as motivation of, guess what, I'm turning the corner. You can mess up, but guess what? People just go remember your last act, not, what you've been doing all the way up to this point. And I think if she used that as her motivation, I think that can help with her redemption arc. What are your thoughts on that?
I think that's a very good point. And I think that would show some redeeming qualities in the way that she probably cares for her daughter.
Facts.
The way that she probably, wants to set a good example and just kind of, want her daughter to grow into, a beautiful, strong woman, and
Yeah.
also wanting that for herself. That's why I enjoy the conversation with Sierra so much more, because we ain't even talking about the men right now.
No,
Huda.
we're not.
We're trying to talk about you getting good for you.
Mm-hmm.
And you've got a lot riding on you by the fact that you have a little person looking up to you, and the fact that you need to be a better woman for yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that that's where Huda misses the mark too, because she gets so focused in on what the man has done, or what he isn't doing, or how he's not being a man, and all this type of stuff, when Sierra helped her shift the focus to improving yourself for you and your child. So Sierra gave her the alley-oop, if you ask me.
100%. Now this last one I have, unless Blair, you have anything to add, unless something came to your mind, I have my last one right here. I call this one an act of God, right? What do you mean by an act of God? Basically, she needs a new bombshell. Now, it just can't be any bombshell. This bombshell have to be Miguel-like. And when I say Miguel-like, I'm not only talking about looks, I'm talking about likability.
Yeah.
Right? That's the only way that she can redeem herself, because she can't do it by herself no more. She can't be with Jeremiah. None of the guys in the villa wants her. So she needs to attach herself to someone who is new and who has the likability of Cordell.
Yeah.
Who have the likability of Miguel, who can basically carry the relationship to the end. I know a lot of people don't like when I say it, but it's the facts, right? Cordell carried Serena to the end. You get what I'm saying? Miguel and Leah, they was a perfect match, because she was getting over her whole Rob thing. And I remember when Miguel first got there, he had the women cooking eggs at 11 o'clock at night.
All different types of
All
eggs.
different types of eggs. Had them going against each other at one point, right? But Miguel was so free-flowing and a free spirit like Leah was. And Leah had a redeeming quality, even though, Leah can be, it is debatable if she's likable or not. But one thing we cannot debate is if she's funny.
Oh, yeah.
She's hilarious.
The girl's
right?
hilarious.
So now we need a new bombshell who is 100% interested in Huda, right? And who have the likability of a Cordell or a Miguel. And she has to act differently in that relationship. She cannot go in that relationship acting like this is the new Jeremiah.
Yeah.
No, not at all. She has to be 100%. The minute you get with this bombshell, the timer starts to how long you going to wait until you tell him that you're a mom.
Exactly.
If you wait a day, the redemption arc is over. You get what I'm saying?
You forfeited it.
Exactly. You're forfeited. You got to lead with it, and he have to accept you 100%. Now, that's why I said it's an act of God, right?
Yeah.
Because this means it's a perfect storm, and this is the only way I see her coming back, staying on the island, and potentially winning. What is your thoughts on that?
I totally agree. I want to add to how if she gets this dream guy, and the way that she goes about it, we're going to need you to calm down on the leading with the sex.
Oh yeah.
We're going to need, because you use it as manipulation.
You can't have sex no more. Yeah, you're right.
And we need you to actually talk to get to know, see if this person is actually someone that you could build something with, instead of trying to create the person to fit into your lifestyle.
Yeah.
And that's how I feel like the conversations with TJ, that really didn't go that well.
No.
Even with Pepe, of course, I think they have some things in their mind about who she is. But also, I think that with Huda, she's touching them, looking at their lips and all this different type of stuff. And that's where it kind of goes into my different set of rules for Huda.
Facts.
Because you go balls to the wall, girl. We need you to go a little bit slower. Try to learn how to be a bit of a slow burn. You don't have to change who you are completely, but you use that coochie as a manipulation tactic.
For sure.
And we're not trying to do that no more.
And guess what? With this list of things, the chances of all four of these things happen perfectly,
Very low.
almost impossible. The whole time I kind of made this video for no reason. It's not going to happen. You get what I'm saying? It's 0%, because even if the new bombshell was to come in and accept her and things like that, the chances of him being more likable than Nick, being more likable than Ace, being more likable than Taylor, being more likable than Olandria is almost slim to none, right?
Yeah.
It's very rare that a bombshell comes in and he is now the main character, or she is now the main character.
Yeah.
Even though we seen Andrina and things like that, as beautiful as she is not main character energy. You get what I'm saying? Compared to Miguel, when he came in, he automatically fit right in and things like that, and he became. You kind of forgot he was a bombshell.
Yeah, he felt like an OG.
Exactly. So that's why I'm like, they don't bring. Listen, I see the tweets. A lot of women are mad because they feel like the men are getting bombshells like Andrina. while the guys are getting bombshells like Jalen and basically TJ.
Yeah, the ladies getting
basically normal looking guys.
Right.
So that's why I'm like the chances of all these things happening are slim to none, but it's possible. But a lot of things gotta go right. She has to do her part. Jeremiah got to do his part, and the new bombshell got to do his part. God got to do his part. It's literally.
But the thing is, there are different pathways,
Yeah.
and I don't think necessarily they all have to happen together.
Mm-hmm.
But I do think that whole picking a redeeming quality and really running with that thing, I think that could be a big saving grace for her.
Yeah, because she don't have no personality.
And she's trying, and it's starting to come out. Things are a little awkward right now, and I'm okay with that because she's trying to get her feet wet and everything.
Mm-hmm.
But let's see. I'm willing to see.
I don't know. TJ said, I'm sleepy. Yeah, I'm like, my goodness.
This pillow's right here.
Yeah, he was like, I'm sleepy. Should we just call it a night? I'll pull you tomorrow? Huh? Listen here.
Don't pull me. I'll pull you.
Exactly. Is there anything else you want to add to this conversation? Any way you want to take it to where Huda can redeem herself?
That's all I got.
Or maybe she can't redeem herself. That's it?
Yeah.
Let us know what you think. I know there are some Huda fans in this video in the comment section. And I figured that, hey, we don't know how long she's going to be in the island. I figured I'll make a deep dive for Huda, right? And I'm not going to add to all the other noise that everybody's saying. I think it's actually crazy to talk about how bad of a mother she is when I never even saw her around her daughter. And also, I don't even know her daughter's name, right? I think we should just keep it. Listen, she's shown herself to be what she is on the show. Mm-hmm. Once we start going off the villa, I just think it's a little much. But I think she can redeem herself if all these things do their part. Jeremiah, her, God, the new bombshells, the producers, all the above. Let us know what you think. If you think, hey, Chris, you got a point. If you got more things to add to the list of how she can redeem herself, put it in the comment section.
Yeah, we want to hear it.
If you think, no, there is no way that she can redeem herself, tomato, put tomatoes in the chat. And we will see y'all tomorrow with the other deep dive. I don't know if y'all gonna like the other deep dive.
All right.
Because I'm gonna talk about y'all faves.
Okay.
I see y'all tomorrow.
Bye.